Hello, everyone, and welcome to Developing Palates. I'm Aaron Loomis, and with me, as always, is Jiunn Liu. How you doing, Jiunn?
I'm doing well.
So today we are talking about the Foundation The Upsetters Django, and this is a Robusto-ish cigar, 5-inch by 54 ring gauge. It comes out of Nicaragua. Factory is undisclosed. The wrapper is from Sumatra, and the binder is undisclosed, but the filler is listed as Nicaragua and Jamaica. Blended by Nick Melillo. Price point on this cigar is $9, and it was released in July of 2016. So with all the cigar details out of the way, let's get into our pre-light experience. So June, what was your pre-light experience like?
Pre-light wise, I thought the look of the cigar had a leathery Colorado Claro shade wrapper to it. Seams were pretty tight. A couple minor veins protruding out, but nothing, no big deal. Bunching and roll felt well executed. I felt like it was a nice structured and uniform give to the entire cigar. The head's finished off with a really well thick applied double cap. So given that this is a infused cigar, right? When I was nosing, the pre-light experience of the nosing of the cigar was definitely a deviation from most cigars out there that we've been doing that's not infused.
Right.
So given that, like a mixture of wood and like a mint-based essential oils that people typically apply, topically on themselves,
Mm-hmm.
and this is. It also had this stuff, the smell of a Chinese herbal medicine. So I have to clarify what that means because the vast majority of people are not going to understand what that means when I say that. So Chinese herbal medicine pungent mixture is typically comprised of various dry wood, herbs, and spices, and is basically boiled in a big pot. It smells like funk. It smells like woody funk, like earthy, mushroomy funk, and it smells really medicinal. So that's what I mean by that. Foot smells of the same wrapper. In addition to, I got a hint of dry black pepper, cold draw tail synthetic sweetness, and off the cap. And I'm sorry, what was I at? I got tripped up.
You at the foot.
Oh, the foot. The foot smells just like a wrapper. In addition to a little bit of black, dry black pepper. The Coldreau tells synthetic sweetness off the cap. Really like a strong amount of synthetic sweetness. And I got that on my tongue, my lips, and just my whole palate really because it was super pungent. And I got some cedar out of it. But overall, average pre-light experience with a very unique experience, should I say.
Yeah. Yeah, the wrapper was light brown. There were a couple of veins that ran the length of the cigar, and then there was like a network of veins that were connecting from those. There was also a couple of water spots on the wrapper. The seams were visible, but they were very smooth. Two well-applied caps. The band has the Upsetters logo on it, along with the Jamaican colors. And it also references being made by hand in the Nicaragua and Jamaica down below the name. The aroma that I got from the wrapper was like a minty menthol smell, and the aroma from the foot was just a general sweetness. And there was an immense sweetness on my lips from the wrapper due to having a sweetened head or sweetened wrapper towards the head. You just as soon as you put your tongue close to your lips, you got that sweetness that just really hits you. So getting into flavor, first third to final third, what was your experience like?
First third, second third, last third, regardless of whatever third I'm talking about, it was a subpar experience for me. In the beginning, I got, ever since the beginning, I got just dominant amount of that synthetic sweetness. So trying to kind of find other flavors excluding that note. Dry cedar, that same abundance of a Chinese herbal medicine. I got a little bit of black pepper. Through the retro cedar intensified black pepper, and faint bread. The finish has a really lingering notes of that synthetic sweetness, dry cedar, wood bitterness, and herbal tea. Body and strength within the entire first third at the medium mark. So on the second third, same thing. So I would apply the exact same that I just said with the first third to the notes on the second third. So last third is kind of when it started kind of. So the last third was more of a shuffle between wood bitterness and Chinese herbal medicine going to the forefront. So on the secondary tier of flavors, dry cedar and that same synthetic sweetness, pepper going. Through the retro, still the same notes of cedar, amplified black pepper, but not intense by any means, but just a little bit more of a kick and a little bit of bread. The finish lingered with a lot of dry cedar, wood bitterness, herbal tea, but less of a mouth engulfing like that synthetic sweetness. And body and strength, just like the first and second thirds, was at the medium mark. So overall, very, very dominant notes of that Chinese medicine, herbal medicine, just essential oil, like herbaceous kind of essential oil kind of a note.
Mm-hmm.
And all of that is, in a way, highlighted by that same synthetic sweetness. That's almost, it's like when I say synthetic, like, it's not like a raw cane sugar sweetness, right?
Mm-hmm.
That tastes more natural. Synthetic, the way I view it is kind of like that Splenda kind of synthetic sweetness, or like sweet and low kind of sweetness.
Right.
And that's what more I'm referring to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for me, cigar began with a little bit of light woodiness. Then a quarter-inch in, that woodiness became more defined as oak, and it was a little bit drying. The retrohale was also oak, and then at half an inch in, a little bit of creaminess joined in with the oak, and I was getting a good amount of sweetness whenever my tongue would touch my lips. So that sweetened cap was really really present there. And in gin, I got like a quick hit of like that minty menthol flavor that I was getting from the wrapper on the prelate aroma. But that kind of was just a really quick hit, and then in that slightly creamy oak would kind of take over the flavor profile. And the strength in that first third was slightly below medium. And then getting in the second third, it continues with the slightly creamy oak, and the retrohale is also a slightly creamy oak. Quarter-inch in, there was a little bit of bitterness that joined in, along with that slightly creamy oak. And then at an inch in, that bitterness went away, and a little bit of that minty menthol flavor was now present in the background. And then as the third came to a close, it remained that creamy oak up front, and that minty menthol flavor was in the background, and the strength had bumped up a little bit to just be right at medium. And then the final third, that minty menthol flavor really increased for me, and it became pretty much even with that slight creamy oak. And then at half an inch in, the minty menthol flavor really took over. That the slightly creamy oak was really just kind of a background note, or maybe it was just a remnant of my imagination. But that the minty menthol just really took over at that point. I was still getting a little bit of a sweetness on my lips, but it was nothing like it was early on. So that kind of that sugar or whatever the sweetener was wearing off at that point. And then as the cigar finished, it was still primarily the minty menthol note with a little bit of creamy oak in the background, and the strength kind of went back down to that slightly below medium range. So getting into performance, burn and draw, what was your experience like?
The burn was really good. Total smoking time came in at an hour and 35 minutes. Very good. Burn line, it was never, super sharp or razor sharp, but it wasn't an issue because, all the leaves burned in unison at all times, and I didn't have to do any touch-ups or relights of any sort. Ashes held on tight in 1-inch increments. The draw, on the other hand, was not as good. For me, on my example, the single example that I smoked, it was considerably tight throughout the whole experience. That Zycar XL cutter, very sharp, so no issues with the cutting aspect of it. And I even cut to the very bottom of that cap, so I couldn't get any lower than that, or else the wrap, of course, you risk the wrapper, unraveling on you. But even after cutting to the very bottom of the cap, there was no relief, and it was just tight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for me, the burn was a little wavy, but it always kept up with itself. And I was also getting the ash to hold on in 1 inch increments. I had a better experience with the draw. It was a little tighter than I prefer, but it still allowed me to take nice full draws. So just a notch below, what I would like to have in the cigar. Um, so I know we already know what you think about the cigar, but to kind of give us your overall thoughts on the cigar.
Uh, yeah, I kind of opened up with that, didn't I? So, so a couple of thoughts. That I'm not a fan of infused cigars.
Mm,
All right. So, regardless of whether it's in my wheelhouse or not, that's not the point. Reviewing cigars, in my opinion, in our opinion, for our website in general, is done in an objective manner, right? We review things like complexity, nuance, body finish, and all that good stuff, right? That's what truly the smoking experience is involved for us. So, with that said, um, I found that the sweet cap and how dominant that synthetic sweetness was, it really overpowered the entire the profile for me.
mhm.
So, in addition to that, I'm mainly of those that very medicinal herbaceous note, um, that kind of like that essential oil, woody, herby kind of thing going on. I don't get it. It wasn't tasty. It didn't mix with that sweetness. And if I remember right, of one of the draws of this cigar and one of the marketing draws perhaps is that there's Jamaican tobacco in here.
Mhm.
Um, I'm curious. I'm confused because I don't know what Jamaican tobacco tastes like, first of all. Um, and what was I supposed to taste in this Jamaican tobacco that was so unique, right? Because I've smoked a Jamaican Puro. Was that the one that we smoked, like from the 80s that
Yeah,
you gave us?
yeah.
Right. So I know non-infused Jamaican tobacco should taste like really vintage old stuff.
Mhm.
And this cigar had none of that for me in it. So perhaps I could say, given that it was overshadowed by the sweet cap. Um, so I don't know, man. Like I'm a little bit scratching my head. The blend didn't work well for me at all. It was sickening sweet. It was way too much herbs in here. Um, for somebody else that's going to smoke this, if there's something that I missed out on, and enlighten me, because I just don't get this one. It didn't work
Right.
well at all.
Yeah. Yeah, now I'm not opposed to smoking infused cigars. I mean, I smoke them from time to time. I can enjoy them when they're a good one. Um, so my scoring on this isn't because I don't like infused cigars. So I just want to make sure that I get that out there. Um,
No, likewise.
yeah, and in,
Likewise.
in my opinion, an infused cigar's purpose is to present flavors that are appealing to people that um, wouldn't find the natural flavors of a premium non-infused cigar appealing. So, they don't like the nuanced notes, and they need something that's got more in your face, identifiable or dessert like type of flavors or something like that. Um, but in this case, the only flavors that were there outside of the natural tobacco flavors was that minty menthol, or what you're calling the Chinese medicinal
Yeah.
flavor. So if that's what you're shooting for, I'm not really sure. I don't know a lot of people that say that they like that in a cigar. I mean, I don't know if you're shooting for, kind of cigarette smokers, or the people that like those menthol cigarettes, or whatever it is. If that's the target audience, if there's, I don't know if there's a big enough audience that likes it, but the flavor that is kind of paired to this cigar just doesn't seem like something that I think people would, go after. Plus, the strength level kind of being around that medium range, I would think that you're looking for more of a mild level, strength level. Um, and I don't recall what, were you more close to the mild range?
Yeah. I mean, I said medium
Okay.
on my reviews, but it's more like a medium minus medium.
Yeah, that's where it was for me. It was just slightly below medium, and then got a medium in the second third. So I mean, it's for a person that likes infused cigars or it's going to be trying a cigar for the first time, I don't, it may or may not, move them away from that. But it was just lost on me. This isn't a infused flavor that I would be interested in. So I don't see myself revisiting this cigar. Now, all the different sizes in the Upsetters line, I think is supposed to have a different flavor. What's odd is that there's no information about. First off, there was no information that this was an infused cigar. It wasn't until people actually got it in their hands and they kind of smelled it and things like that, they could tell that there's some infusion going on. So there's really no information out there about what to expect from each of the cigars to know what the experience is going to be like. So I haven't seen any reviews of anything other than the Django. So I'm interested to see maybe what some of the other flavors are. Maybe there's a difference there that might be more appealing. But this particular one with that minty menthol flavor just wasn't for me. So let's get into scores. You gave this cigar a 3.73. I gave it a 4.67. How do you think your score matched up with your experience?
I think it matched up well. I mean, I think about the subpar flavor notes and the smoking experience within the first, second, last, third, as well as the overall that factored into it, as well as having a pretty tight draw on my example. All kind of alluded to a cigar that was in between the range of like poor or subpar in our scoring category.
Mm-hmm.
So I it is an honest opinion, right? It is my opinion of how I felt. This has no bearing on how I feel about Nick Malolo's other cigars, by the way. I love his way when say it's top 5 earlier last year. Tabernacle is good, so I just want to throw it out there.
Mm-hmm.
This just, I just don't get this one.
Yeah, I think my score matches up, right? It wasn't a horrible cigar. It just wasn't, there wasn't like, the profile just wasn't something that I would look for. The performance of the cigar was fine, no issues with that. And the secondary notes, the natural tobacco notes were fine. They'd be there for a bunch of cigars that you could smoke. So an average cigar. It was just that the enhancement flavor, it just wasn't something that I look for in a cigar. So not something that I would associate with a cigar. I'd maybe associate that more with a cigarette. So, and I'm not a cigarette smoker, so it's not the direction I'm looking for. So, any final thoughts on this?
I think I could see why Nick came out with this because I mean, I believe he was involved with when he was a part of Drew Estate with the whole acid line.
Yep.
So it seems natural that he came out with his own infused line with Foundation. But yeah, maybe if Nick, you were watching this, drop us a line. I'd like to talk more about it because I just don't understand what's going on with this one.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I'm open to trying some of the other ones, just to kind of see what the experience is like. I'm not totally off of the line because of this particular one. I mean, I'm open to smoking any of the Vitolas and kind of seeing what the experience is like. But I think this flavor profile just was not in my wheelhouse at all. So, if you're just catching this video on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to us. Also, check out the full written review on the website, developingpalates.com. Be sure to subscribe to us on social media: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Google+. Thank you for watching, and we will catch you on the next video.